Hey guys, I was recently asked about oils, my thoughts on oils, on a vegan diet, or any diet I guess. So yeah, should vegans consume oils? What about supposedly heart-healthy oils like olive oil? According to many plant-based promoters like Drs. John McDougall, Joel Fuhrman, and Michael Clapper, no. Oil is just a refined food that offers nothing but fat and calories and therefore weight gain. It's better than trans fat and saturated fat, but it's still not recommended. But is this really true? Are oils really just fat and calories? Mostly, a tablespoon of oil is around 120 calories from fat. However, oils, for instance, olive oil, is a good source of vitamin E. Flaxseed oil is a terrific source of omega-3 fatty acids. But yeah, oils are mostly fat and calories. Now, does that mean they automatically lead to weight gain? Sure, if you're adding them on top of the calories that you are already consuming. So let's assume that you are consuming enough calories and then you add on another tablespoon or two of olive oil or something, that's an extra 200 plus calories. Sure, it can lead to weight gain. And because oil is so high in calories, it makes it fairly easy to do this. Again, a tablespoon is about 120 calories. To put that into perspective, if we look at sugar, another food that's known for being high calorie and low in nutrients, sugar per tablespoon is only about 48 calories. But calories from any source can lead to weight gain if you eat too much. Just because someone is consuming oil doesn't mean that he or she is consuming too many calories and therefore gaining weight. Just like someone consuming legumes or grains or fruits or vegetables or nuts or seeds or even meat or cheese or cakes or cookies doesn't automatically mean that he or she is eating too much and therefore gaining weight. And the research doesn't support this claim that oil leads to weight gain. In fact, some studies have found the opposite to be true. A study published in 2010 found that after 8 weeks, women consuming 3 tablespoons of olive oil a day on a plant-based diet lost more weight than those eating a lower fat diet. More importantly, far more women actually stuck with eating the plant-based olive oil diet and completed the 6-month follow-up than the women following the lower fat diet. Plus, isn't it true that certain oils like olive oil have a lot of benefits, like reducing our risk for heart disease and stroke? While it's true that some studies have shown a significant effect of olive oil consumption on heart disease, reducing the risk for heart disease, taking the evidence together seems to tell a different story. A recent meta-analysis of 9 relevant studies found that while olive oil did reduce the risk for stroke, it had no significant effect on heart disease. So you may be wondering why this analysis only included 9 studies. It seems like a new study showing a link between olive oil consumption and a reduced risk for heart disease comes out like every week. Why would they only look at 9 studies? Because many of the studies don't actually look specifically at olive oil consumption. They looked at a dietary pattern, the dietary pattern known as the Mediterranean diet that focuses on fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes and nuts along with olive oil, a pattern that has been associated with lower risk for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, etc. When researchers look specifically at olive oil and heart disease, as they did with this meta-analysis, the effect is insignificant. As the researchers say, these findings should not be viewed as surprising or disappointing because any one dietary factor is unlikely to have a large effect on a disease with numerous causes like coronary heart disease. Again, it's the dietary pattern, like Mediterranean diet, that focuses on whole plants, of which olive oil plays a part. That's what matters most. But is olive oil really a necessary part of this pattern? Does it really help to contribute to the reduced risk for heart disease and obesity, etc., that studies seem to find in people eating this way? The components of olive oil that many suspect to be beneficial are its type of fat, monounsaturated, as well as the polyphenols, the antioxidants that it contains, which are not limited to oil. Most other plant oils, excluding coconut oil, are great sources of monounsaturated fat, as well as polyunsaturated fat, another heart-healthy fat. And whole fat sources, where the oils come from, nuts and seeds and avocados, are not only great sources of mono and polyunsaturated fat, but they're great sources of polyphenols as well. Speaking of polyphenols, the researchers of that meta-analysis on cardiovascular disease, they do note that the majority of the studies do not differentiate between refined olive oil consumption and virgin olive oil consumption, the latter of which contains more polyphenols and therefore may offer more protection against heart disease. The one study that did differentiate did actually find more protection among those consuming virgin olive oil. Another study, a randomized controlled trial published just after this meta-analysis, found a similar connection. 47 men were given about 5 teaspoons of either polyphenol-poor or polyphenol-rich olive oil every day. After 3 weeks, HDL function was significantly improved in the men eating the polyphenol-rich olive oil. So if it's the type of fat and/or the polyphenols in olive oil that really matter, then we would expect to see similar benefits with nuts and seeds that also contain these components, and we do. Several recent meta-analyses published in 2014 and 2015 found nut consumption to be protective against cardiovascular disease, all-cause mortality, cancer mortality, cardiovascular mortality, and hypertension. Interestingly enough, nuts do not seem to protect against stroke. And of course, whole plant fats like nuts and seeds offer other benefits as well, like being good sources of protein, zinc, selenium, manganese. They are still pretty high in calories, but much less so than oil thanks to their fiber content, so they may be more satiating as well. Nuts also generally have a longer shelf life than oils do, which is important because consuming rancid oils may contribute to oxidative stress. And unfortunately, as Dr. Michael Greger points out in his video, The True Shelf Life of Cooking Oils, the best before date isn't always accurate. So, should anyone avoid oil? I don't think so. I don't think that oil is this demon that if I consume it, I'm automatically going to increase my risk for obesity or atherosclerosis. The science certainly does not support this. And even if the evidence doesn't quite support the popular opinion that olive oil alone reduces your risk for heart disease, it certainly doesn't support the opposite, that it's bad for your heart. And there's additional evidence that shows that olive oil consumption may be beneficial in other ways, like this meta-analysis from 2011 that found that olive oil consumption reduced the risk for any type of cancer, particularly breast and digestive cancers. So then we should all consume oil? I'm not really convinced by this side either. Again, the components of oil that are likely beneficial are not just limited to oil. You can get monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, polyphenols, and so much more from nuts and seeds and avocado. So eat olive oil or avocado oil or flaxseed oil or don't. I really don't think it matters that much. If you like oil, awesome. If you like oil and it helps you eat more vegetables, more salads, awesome. If you don't like oil, you don't eat it, instead you prefer nuts and seeds, awesome. If you like and eat both, awesome. What matters for health in terms of nutrition remains the same. Eat lots of plants, limit animal products and processed foods, and don't overeat. Doing so reduces the risk for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, various cancers, and so much more. Which sounds really simple, and it is really simple, but I think it's important to mention because so many people in the vegan movement, so many vegan educators seem to be focused on little things like oil, like alcohol, like coffee, things that in moderation have been shown to be neutral or even beneficial additions to any diet. And from a vegan standpoint, from an animal advocacy standpoint, does fixating on things like oil, does this really help? I agree with vegan dietitian Jenny Messina that it doesn't. I don't much care if someone consumes olive oil or not. I do wonder why anyone would think that taking an anti-olive oil stance could be effective advocacy for animals. Adding restrictions to vegan diets that don't improve their healthfulness ends up dissuading more people from going vegan than it is likely to attract. I know we like to pretend that vegan diets are diets of abundance, so many plants, so many colors. Sure, but by definition, a vegan diet is a restrictive diet. No meat, no cheese, no milk, no eggs. These are foods that most people in the Western world rely on. They eat at every single meal, which means that going vegan it's quite difficult for most people. Do we really want to add more restrictions on top of that? Restrictions of plant foods that are neutral at worst? That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you eat olive oil or other oils? Do you not eat oil? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's unhealthy? Do you not care? I personally prefer to focus on nuts and seeds and avocado, whole sources, because they're lower in calories and they're more delicious. 4 tablespoons of like a delicious vegan dressing, that's like 100 calories total, like my awesome vegan ranch dressing, that's pretty delicious. That's way more appetizing to me than 1 tablespoon of olive oil that's the same amount of calories. Also, I know I didn't cover coconut oil in this video, and that's because it's a bit different with its saturated fat content and all of the numerous health claims that surround it right now. So I will be doing that in its own separate video very soon, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you again for watching. If you're not subscribed and you like this kind of thing, then be sure to subscribe. And I'm on Patreon if you want to support my channel there and help me out. Give me some money. That's nice. And, oh, I got a shiver. That was weird. And talking about money. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Books. I'm still talking about money. I have books. I have recipe books. They're very cheap, though. And that's a good sell. I have books. They're very cheap. Don't you want to buy them? Yeah, I've got some awesome, delicious recipes. Some of them I have on YouTube. Only a few. The vast majority are not on YouTube. Yeah, so you can go to gumroad.com/unnaturalvegan and check those out there. And I have a movie review channel. Why not? Lady Loves Film. So you can check that out too if you like movie reviews. A vegan channel and a movie review channel. I am very just the pinnacle of uniqueness. Thanks again for watching, guys. This is the 4th time I've said it. I will have a new video very soon. Do you want to come in? And you want to go out? Is that what's happening? A randomized controlled trial, a randomized controlled trial published, God, that's hard to say. Another study, a randomized controlled trial, another study,